Oh, hello, and welcome to the next episode of Careers with Miss Doyle. I'm really excited today because we've got Shawn Smith on with us, who is the owner of Astley Motors, MOT and Service Garage. So he's a mechanic. And I know we've got lots of people in school who are really interested in a career in working with cars in the future. So hi, Shawn.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, and thanks for doing this for us today. So can you just talk to us a little bit about how you got into mechanics and what you did at school, what you did afterwards, how that came about?
Yeah, of course. Basically, I was always interested in cars and motorbikes whilst I was at school. Big passion for me, and obviously, after I left school, it was something that I carried on pursuing. Uh, had a few jobs here and there, working for different companies. Uh, Eventually, ended up taking more of a liking into auto electrical part of the industry. Uh, then went on from there to spend quite a lot of time working for a company in Manchester where we did a lot of um, alarms and security systems on vehicles, uh, which I'm still very, very passionate about and really enjoy this side of the work.
Yeah,
Uh,
what about that makes you what's interesting about it for you? Why do you like that the best?
each car comes with a different challenge. Very rare you get two of the same problem on the same car. Um, One of the problems with mechanics and auto electrical work, uh, whether it be cars, motorbikes, vans, or trucks, is if you keep doing something and it's the same repetitive thing, you will lose interest in it. And what I will tell anybody that if they are looking for a career in this, make sure you're looking in the bigger picture and always try to go for something that you are really passionate about and what is going to keep you interested. Because the same mundane task day in day out will potentially drive you away from the job. So try and pick an area that you're interested in, and it'll keep you interested. So, for instance, with auto electrical work, because things change on every vehicle, it always keeps you occupied. So because it's keeping you occupied and each thing's a different challenge, you're never bored with it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say keep an open mind and focus on what you really want. Now, obviously, if you've got people that are really involved into like motorcycles, the same goes for them because the same technology that goes into a car is practically the same as what goes into a bike as well. So even though you may have somebody that says, "Oh, I'm not interested in cars," well, working on a car could be a very good starting point to get you into elite motorcycles as well. Because at the end of the day, most most systems work on 12 volts. So whether it's a car or a bike, it's the same. Basically it's the same thing. It's just
The
obviously
principles
two.
are the same, and then you just apply them to the different
Exactly. Yeah.
vehicle. Um,
So yeah, that's my take on it anyway.
okay, you do take apprentices on, don't you? At your because I know a lot of the guys who are interested in doing this are keen to start. They're not that keen on doing the schoolwork and studying more. They want to get the hands. They want to do practical work. So what do you look for if you're taking on an apprentice?
So basically, myself, I wasn't that interested in school, and I was more interested in being hands-on. So when I'm looking for an apprentice, what I'm actually looking for is somebody that I see that I was back in school, and if I can see the passion that someone's got that I used to have, then I kind of think, well, yeah, that's the kind of person that I would take on.
So
So
what do they need to demonstrate? Would it be enough if someone was, doing scrambling at the weekend, and what do they need to show you?
yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, if people's got a passion and they're helping the parents out, going around to the mates, doing this, that, and the other, You know, and you kind of think, well, if they've got a bit of knowledge already, then that's the kind of thing that, you know, I can say to someone, all right, yeah, so, you know, you've done this at the weekend, you know, how did you get around, you know, this problem? What was that? And, you know, I'm then looking for them to turn around rather than sugar of the shoulders, but turn around and go, oh yeah, you know, we took the spark plug out, we did this, and we tried this and we tried that. At that
Showing
point, you
that
can't.
that kind of initiative that
They're showing some kind of willing. It's, you know, and for me, anyone that's showing some kind of willing is worth a try.
excellent.
Now, a lot of employers only want people that's got it written down on pieces of paper from a college that basically says, yeah, you can do the job. Now, I've took on people like that before in the past, and I will be honest, in the real world, then pieces of paper don't really work anywhere near as good as someone that's actually picked up some spanners and actually had a go.
So an
And, you know,
apprenticeship is actually a better route if this is something that
without a doubt. So you learn a lot more as an apprentice because you're physically hands-on in the real world.
yeah.
So for me, I would take on an apprentice that is, you know, keen on doing the job and isn't bothered about getting his or her hands dirty. That'd be the person that I would take on over somebody else.
So can you describe to us, like, what would be a typical day for you now? Because you actually went from working for the people to now you own your own garage. So how does that work?
Uh, Obviously, now at the garage we have so many different strings in our bow, if you like. So basically, we have we do the tyres, we do MOTs, we do auto electrical work, we still do quite a lot of vehicle security, and we do anything from servicing to complete engine rebuilds. So luckily enough, every single day is something different, which again keeps things interesting because, as I said earlier, if you're only doing one thing and you're doing that same one thing all the time, it becomes monotonous and boring.
Yeah.
So, you know, I could get into work tomorrow and my day could be literally removing an engine from the vehicle, stripping it completely down and rebuilding it, to literally getting in, you know, or I could, you know, get into work and then tomorrow I could be putting an alarm system on a car to stop it from being stolen, or, you know, I could even get in and I could have something like a motorhome that's been parked up on a farm, where the rats and the mice have ate the wiring loom.
Oh my goodness.
And basically, I could end up having to remove the dashboard and everything, and then take out the wiring loom, build a new wiring loom, put it all back in, and go from there. So each day is different, which is what I like because, you know, each day comes with a different challenge, and it's always something different. So
And so we were talking this morning. I was talking to one young man who was interested in this, and I was talking to him about his people skills. I said, really, as well, another thing that would be important in this industry is to have the ability to speak to people. Because if I'm going to bring my car to you, or my motorbike to you, or my motorhome where the mice are eating the wires, I want to be sure you're the guy that can fix it. So how can you
definitely.
build those?
So obviously, honesty is always a very big thing with the customer. If you start trying to talk the customer into a load of twaddle, you very quickly get to the point where the customer doesn't feel comfortable with you, and at that point, you could very easily lose a customer. So my take on it is always try and be friendly with the customer, uh, build up a good rapport with them, keep them in the loop at all times so that basically whatever you're doing, they always know what you're doing, what you're going to try. A lot of the things with a lot of cars, vans, motorbikes, when they broke, you know, we don't always have the answer straight away. So, and that is infuriating. You know, it's infuriating for us because we're spending time trying to find it. Now, it's infuriating for the customer as well because obviously they've got a vehicle off the road, which, you know, could be putting strain on any number of things for them. Now, if as long as you're honest with them and you say, you know, basically, we're going to try this, we're going to do this, this is a common thing to go, you'll find that your customer will kind of warm to you and think, well, he's not trying to pull the wool over my eyes. You know, he's telling me what it is, what it could be. You know, we'll just trust him and leave him to it. And, you know, as long as you keep them in the loop, then you're pretty good with it.
Because sometimes you're going to have to deliver some bad news as well. It's going to be expensive sometimes.
Obviously, yeah, you know, sometimes it's not well, it's never our fault. You know, if your car's brought down and you've brought it to us, you know, it was already brought before it got it to us. Now, obviously, we'll try everything, and at some point or another, you may actually say to a customer, you know, it's beyond repair, get a new one, or it's going to cost you quite a lot of money. What do you want to do? But it's always about keeping that customer in the loop, and then they know where they are as well. Because the last thing anybody needs is to turn around and go, "Oh yeah, we've got it working. It's £5,000," and someone goes, "Well, it's only worth 1,000."
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you've got to make sure that you know you've got a really good rapport with the customer, and they know what's going on every step of the way.
I've been in receipt of some of those bad news sometimes myself. It's not very nice. So when you've done your apprenticeship and you're a fully trained mechanic, what kind of opportunities are available to you then?
Uh, as long as I mean, I've took on two apprentices that work with me at the garage now. They've both come up through the ranks, and Matt's now 21, Ryan's 22. Um, so as soon as their apprentices was finished, I took them on because they're two lads that I know, I trust, I know they've got passion for the job. So as long as anybody who's interested in this line of work, if they show goodwill in and you know pass the qualifications, then for me, the time served with me, they've worked alongside me, and for, you know that pays the reward of having a full-time job at the end of it.
Yeah, because
So
you know
again,
then that you can trust that person. You don't want to keep constantly
you know,
recruiting. You want good people to stay with you.
these are lads now that basically have the keys for my garage and can come and go at any point in time that they want. So you know, I trust them that much. As I said, they've both got sets of keys. They can come and go as they want. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if they want to do a friend's car, anything like that, they can just come in and do it now. And I think
Okay.
the thing with a lot of people is if you trust your staff, then obviously you you expect a bit of give and take. So obviously, as far as those two lads who work for me are concerned, they know full well that if they want to do anything, you know, they just have to ask and they can go and do whatever they want. And that's the difference between actually, you know, being good and respected at what you do and just kind of being a rubbing rag. And there's a lot of jobs out there where, you know, as an apprentice, I do see it from other companies where people have been in and they are just a rubbing rag as an apprentice, and I just don't think it's right that people should be used that way. If someone's going to dedicate time to you and actually come and work for you, then you should give them the same level of respect as what they give you.
I think
Uh,
what's nice about your story is that you've gone from being that person, sort of working your way up, and now you're the boss and you own your own garage and you've got people working for you. So I suppose that's somewhere where they can go further on. The sky's the
yeah,
limit,
well,
really. You could
absolutely. You
own one,
know,
you could own two, you could own 10 garages.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I've started off working for other people and then progressed to actually setting up on my own, and best thing that I've ever done. And you know, obviously, anybody looking at trying to do this, I would recommend it. But obviously, make sure you know what you're doing first, and you know, you need the experience there first. You can't just turn around and just go, oh, you know what, I'm set up on my own. because that doesn't work, because this job is all about experience, and you only get the experience by doing it and working alongside people who have done it before. And the other thing as well is, a lot of people always want to think that, oh, I don't need anybody else. I can do this, I can do that. Trust me, I'm 48 years old. I still learn something new every single day. And I won't, I'm not ashamed to admit it. From time to time, the lads that were apprentices for me actually tell me things that I didn't know. So
Which is the nature
learn. Well, exactly, yeah. So I'm still learning off Matt and Ryan, who, are less than half of my age, and they'll come to me and they go, oh, we was doing this job and I found this and this has done this. And you're like, all right, well. So I've learned something, they've learned something, and I'm not afraid to admit that I've learned something off what was an apprentice.
But that's the thing, is because obviously cars are they change all the time. The design changes, they get smarter, the systems change. So you are always learning. You're always going to have to adapt to, like, a car that was built 20 years ago doesn't work the same way as a car that was built last week.
No. So
right.
Obviously engine technology has not moved on a great deal. The basics are the same as that, but things in between do change quite a lot. Now, if you've got one lad who's working on one car and I'm working on another, well, the two problems that we're working on across those two cars could be massively different, and I'll work out the problem with this car, he'll work out the problem with that, and then we'll sit there and we'll go, oh, suss this, and then we'll tell each other, and then basically between all of us we'll actually learn something, and then maybe the next car I work on, maybe 2 months down the line, may be the one that he's worked on, and I'll go, oh, I remember Matt saying on one of these it's such a thing, and then you can look at it and you go, hey Matt, guess what, exactly the same problem.
So teamwork's really important as well.
Very, very much so. Again, in a garage environment, teamwork is paramount, because if you just try and work things out on your own without actually asking other people, and don't ever be afraid to ask, because what may sound stupid for you to ask, somebody else might go, haha, I've had this before.
Yeah.
And they'll go, I spent days looking for that problem and it was only this.
Yeah.
So you never, you may find yourself feeling very stupid asking, but we're only human, and at the end of the day, we've all had to learn somewhere or another how that problem came around, how we solved it, how we fixed it. So I do know that a lot of people clam up, and then you'll say, "What's up?" Oh, I feel stupid asking. It's like, well, why would you feel stupid asking? You don't know. You don't know. Most people don't know the answer to anything these days. So, and more often than not, people Google an answer.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between Googling it and actually asking somebody in the profession that you're trying to?
Who's an expert?
Yeah. It's, don't ever feel stupid asking a question.
So tell me this, what's the best thing? Have you worked on some really cool cars? What's the best thing about your job?
Oh, I've worked on some cars that are absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So yes, and we've literally worked on anything from Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all the way down to little old minis.
Do you get a chance to drive them then?
Sometimes we do. We get some customers that are very friendly and say, "Oh, you can have a go at this." I remember a couple of years ago, a customer turned up. He actually had, well, he still has actually, quite a few DeLoreans, which are the cars that they use in the Back to the Future films. And we was doing quite a lot of work on these cars for him.
They didn't take you back in time.
Oh, I wish he did. We could have changed some things, but there we go. But yeah, so we we had the DeLoreans in, which is obviously quite a big thing for the Back to the Future film thing. But he also, when he came down looking at what we was doing, he turned up in a lovely Maclaran.
Oh, wow.
Which, you know, this particular one was worth just shy of, I think it was about £600,000.
Oh my God.
And it was a real piece of kit. And I literally stood there in awe of this car and just went, "That's lovely." He went, he just literally turned around and went, "Do you want to go?" And I was literally like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, go on." And I was like, a couple of minutes later, I was driving around in this Maclaran. I was like,
Oh, wow.
"Oh my God." So, you know, you do get some really, really nice cars in, and some customers are like nice enough to let you have a drive around in them, or they'll take you out with them as well.
And when you're
So,
working on like a £600,000 car, do you get nervous? Do you think, "Oh God, I better not break anything"?
to be fair, I mean, somebody's car, somebody's car. So even if it's worth £200,
Yeah, it's important
or
to them.
£1 billion, it's, you know, someone's £200 car to them is still as valuable as someone's £2 million car to them. So you've always got to treat the car with, like, you know, the respect that it does deserve. That obviously it's not yours, and, you know, somebody else's. But obviously, when you are taking apart a car at such value, I think you are a little bit more cautious at everything that you actually do. But and I can tell you that there's a couple of times on a few cars that you're, especially when you're taking them apart, if you're doing security, some of the panels on them, when you're trying to unclip them, all that you can hear is crack, and you think, "Oh, please, please don't have broken." Like, you know, I can't afford to fix this. Please don't break.
Okay, so just
That's one of the big rewards about doing these different cars is, you know, when people trust you enough to bring in cars at that kind of value, you go, "Well, you know, people are trusting me with that." And
okay, just to wrap this up then, what would you advise somebody who wants to get into car mechanics? What would you advise them to do now at this sort of 15, 16-year-old?
So basically, obviously, you know, if you have got the passion for cars and motorbikes, and that's what you want to get into, obviously seek your schools careers people. There's plenty of courses that you can get on. There's lots of growth companies that can get you onto different courses through college. Try get placements with somebody like myself at particular garages. And obviously, as I said earlier on, just make sure that whatever you're doing, it's the thing that you really want to do. I mean, if you, for instance, if you really want to work with a particular type of car, then there's not a great deal of point getting involved with a garage that only does motorbikes, because, you know, you're just never going to get where you want to really be with it. So just stick with, you know, get the idea in your mind. Across time, you know, without doubt, you probably will change ever so slightly on what you may want to do, because you may have an idea and you think, "You know what, I'm only interested in rally cars." You know, the reality of trying to get into anywhere that only deals with rally cars is probably going to be quite difficult. But, you know, if that's what you want to do, then there is places out there that will take you along that path.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Well, that's great. Thank you very much for your time then today. And if anybody's got any questions, I'll just drop you a little email or something. And
that's no problem at all. Well, thank you very much.
All right, excellent.
Following the career path.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Shawn. Talk to you soon.
No worries, Jennifer.
Bye.
Thank you. Very nice.